We are live.
We are?
Yes.
Okay. At this time, I would like to call to order the Village of Warwick Board of Trustees meeting for August 3rd, 2026. I would ask you all to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Deputy Mayor Cheney,
Here.
Trustee Foster,
Here.
Trustee Calora,
Here.
Trustee McKnight,
Here.
Isabel Hayes.
Here.
And Mayor Newhart is absent this evening.
Thank you. I'd just like to remind anyone who hasn't, there is a sign-in sheet there, and we'd ask you to please sign in. I'd like to begin by providing some ground rules for this evening's discussion regarding 30 Brady Road. We'll be allowing a public comment period prior to the board's discussion regarding 30 Brady Road to allow any residents to address the board with any concerns about the project prior to the beginning of our discussion. The board has received comments during the public hearing and has received written comments prior to and since the public hearing. There will be an additional public comment period for other agenda items after the discussion and prior to the motions, as well as a public comment period at the end of the meeting for non-agenda items. When recognized to speak, please step to the podium and provide your name, residency, and direct your statements to the board. Speakers are asked to limit their remarks to 3 minutes. Residents will continue to have opportunity to provide input to the village board at meetings during public comment or in writing. You're also able to provide written comments to the planning board as their process proceeds. The process moving forward will include, as the next step, the state environmental quality review evaluation being conducted by the planning board on behalf of both boards. The work of the village board tonight is to state and discuss our concerns and specific requests regarding additional information and clarification relative to the project. In addition to the environmental review, the planning board will also be working through the comments provided by its members and professionals, the comments of this board, and public input. Tonight's agenda does not contain a resolution on this matter, and action by the village board would have to wait the completion of the environmental review. Anything our attorney would like to add?
You did it all.
I hit it all right. That's a first. Okay, I would now ask for acceptance of minutes from July 14th, July 20th, and July 24th.
So moved.
Second.
Second, thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Authorization to pay all approved and audited claims in the amount of $443,926.19.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Correspondence. I'll handle this one. The Village of Warwick Public Works Supervisor Michael Mosier and Assistant Public Works Supervisor Michael Finelli have achieved Roadmaster Level 1 status from Cornell University's Roadmaster Recognition Program. And I'd just like to point out the village supports their efforts to attend these conferences to allow them to gain in the knowledge that will help the department function better, and we appreciate their diligence and the ideas that they learn and receive when they attend. All right, we are going to now move into discussion, and so at this time, if there is anyone for public participation before the discussion, at this time, if there's anyone who would like to bring any comments to the board, it's your opportunity to do so.
Then we're
terms of 30 Brady?
Yes, this is 30 Brady, discussion on 30 Brady, sorry.
Oh, that's okay, I just wanted to make sure. Hi, everybody, my name is Karen Ulrich, I live on 33 Robert Drive. So I read the letter that the Rutherfords presented to the board, and of course, there's a few discrepancies, you can figure that out on your own. They claim that the property has been in disarray since their father died 25 years ago. Well, shame, because she had 2 healthy boys that could have helped her. No excuse.
Who were recovered.
Okay, so I have turned to talk, Alice, you can talk later, please. In their letter, they state they immediately rectified their landscaping once they were notified. Should never have to come to be notified, you should be maintaining your grass. And if this is what I have to look forward to, it's in direct view of my yard. One board member was kind enough to take me up on my offer to come and see for themselves. I have a direct view at all times, no matter what the season, and obviously the winter is worse because there's no foliage. But I have a direct view of where the trash and the parking lot will be. I'm not gonna bring up the lighting and the coverage, that's for the board to decide. What I would like to know is, how are you gonna show us why you're gonna reward them this permit if you do? A house that has violation after violation on them. They took down a not code shed and dumped it on their front porch. Well, you don't know if this property deal is gonna go through, so now I'm looking at, when I drive by, all of the trash on their front porch. And I know you drive by, I know you live in the village, everybody, so I know what I'm talking about. Basketball hoops laying in the trash. If this is what we have to expect, it's shame. Also, they're stating they're gonna block our view from the condos. I've lived there 34 years, I've never had an issue with the condos. Landscaping is maintained, trash is maintained, lighting is maintained, car parking is maintained, noise pollution is maintained there. I've never, ever once had an issue with the condos, and I don't think any of my neighbors have either. So in terms of blocking my view, yeah, it blocks my view, but I'd rather see the condos than their house, or what might become of their new home that they're gonna live in. So if they lived in this
Drive, you guys have the pictures, and I know the mayor had the pictures. Do you have the pictures? All the people on the board have the pictures of the shed, the property, the basketball hoop?
I'm pretty sure we received them,
You
yeah.
have the basketball hoop. Because basketball hoop, it takes some time to find it in these pictures.
Did you want to show the
Oh,
board?
yeah, I have the pictures. Okay, so this is the shed. You know, you can see. Okay? And then they take the shed down after it was complained about as being a safety issue, and this is where it went. So, I don't know what the excuse was, but, you know, take a pile of crap and you move it to another pile of crap, that ain't making anybody happy. And then we have the other pictures. It just takes some time to see.
To sell her house. And in their letter was written that she has discarded all of their lawyer fees because of the drive-by. That's not true. Her lawyer is in contact with their lawyer. So that's false information. Second, the shed, which is whatever, was the date they have written down is the wrong date. It was taken down. I have proof. You can ask me. It was taken down, pouring rain, because they had fines for that. They had fines for the grass. They were mowing it in the pouring rain, everything. That letter, you need to review it. You need to review your documents of their violations and everything else, because it's false. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to address the board? Yes.
So, I don't really have that much to add. I don't like this podium. I miss the days where I could just like sit in the chair and not be on camera, but I had to pick up my jaw off the floor to get to this meeting because reading that letter, I mean, at the last meeting, you know, the mayor said, remember, these are people, they're neighbors, be respectful. I think every single person who spoke that night really extended that respect, and this letter was the opposite of respectful. I'm pretty sure, I can't get into her brain, but when the planning board attorney highly suggested a response letter to all of the public comments, I mean, there's not even a lack of remorse in this letter. I mean, this is supposed to be responding to neighbors who have really communicated the ways in which they've negatively affected their properties. And on top of not showing remorse, not one apology, they want to deflect, they want to go turn it on to the neighbors. Never been a problem before, which on that note, I mean, if they're gonna have trouble getting insurance because of whatever's going on at 28, how has that not been brought up before now? They say, we had not been previously responsible for the property or its maintenance. Well, no, that's a lie, because Alice Rutherford has owned this property since 1978. And just because they transferred it into an LLC back in May, doesn't mean that ownership has really changed. It's her and her 2 kids who own it. So who's been responsible for the last 25 years for maintaining this? And then they contradict themselves too, because then they're saying in September 2025, we contacted a landscaper, we did this. So what is it? Were you not responsible? Were you responsible? It just seems like they're throwing spaghetti at a wall trying to get it to stick. When a contracted landscaper failed to perform scheduled services, we took corrective action within 48 hours of receiving notice. No, Boris left a door knocker on August 28th. September 19th, it was not resolved, and that's when they got their violation. It wasn't until the mid-October that grass got cut. I mean, bare minimum, cut your grass. And on that note, the building inspector is not a personal assistant. Like, you know, it almost seems like this letter is saying, oh, as soon as we get notification, we take care of it right away. You're not supposed to get notifications at all. He's not your personal assistant. You shouldn't be getting notification after notification to do things like mow your lawn. And then they say, yeah, this affects our ability to finance or insure our land. I don't know how that has not come up at any point since they submitted their application. I don't know. I think it's incredibly disrespectful to a fellow widow of not that long ago, 5 years, who probably feels like she's being held hostage in the home that she shared with her husband because she can't sell it. And they say, oh, the assumption that this will be negatively affected. It's not an assumption. I mean, the realtor has said time and time again, this house is not selling. They keep referencing, you know, 30 Brady. I've talked to people in my personal life who have gone and looked at that house and they said, well, that's the exact reason we didn't buy it. So, yeah, I'm not really sure what the purpose of this letter was. I don't know. D is for denial because that's what they're in, and that's what you guys should really be doing with this application because this is just, it's egregious. It really is. It's egregious.
Thank you.
Could you state your name, please?
Oh, Megan Cook,
Thank
22
you.
Southern Lane.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I just had one other question. During this process that you guys are doing and the village planning board, will we get the knowledge of how the votes are cast? In other words, yay?
It'll be done publicly.
Public.
Yeah, yes. Will be done in a public meeting. Anyone else like to speak or comment before the board? Okay. All right, then I think we can move on to the board's discussion regarding any comments, issues that we have. Someone like to start?
I have a question about procedure. So we have the applicant, we have the applicant in the room. So during the discussion, is it appropriate for us to direct inquiries to the applicant? I was sort of expecting maybe that the applicant would
If we
speak.
have a question
Yeah,
and they're
that'd be helpful.
comfortable responding to it, yes.
Okay. I don't mind
Somebody
starting.
ready to start? Okay, go
Or
ahead.
do you want to start?
No, you can start.
Throw my hat in the
Yes,
ring.
go ahead.
All right. So I have been going through both the public comments and also the requirements for the board to issue a conditional use permit. I do want to say that my perspective on the role of the board and every trustee is that it is essential for us to be responsive and not reactive, right? There's a difference between being responsive and reactive, and also to govern in accordance with the law and to maximize the health, safety, and well-being of residents and visitors. So above and, you know, like that goes alongside any of the questions or perspectives about the property. I will say that I did visit the site. I didn't go to anybody's house, but I did go to the back road and I traveled along it and I stopped and I looked to see, you know, and I agree that it is visible. if it's okay, I'd like to go through questions that I have regarding some of the public comments that we received. And I have questions both for the attorney and for the applicant, if that's okay. And thank you very much for being here tonight. I want to acknowledge that regardless of kind of, it sounds like there's a lot of good reasons that people have shared the perspectives that they had, but I imagine that it's very difficult for you to sit there and listen to it. So just want to acknowledge that. So most public comments were that, and maybe just like, let me go back to my understanding of the perspective that the board needs to take on this project. So when looking to approve or disapprove, we must identify whether it will be in harmony with the appropriate and orderly development of the district in which it is proposed to be situated. And that is a very subjective perspective that I'm sure each board member is going to have a different perspective on and will need to kind of be able to substantiate. And not be detrimental to the site or adjacent properties in accordance with the zoning classifications of such properties. The location and size of such use, nature, intensity of operations, its site layout, relation to access streets shall be such that both pedestrian and vehicular traffic to and from the use will not be hazardous. The location, height, nature of walls and fences and landscaping shall be such that they will not hinder or discourage the development and use of adjacent land and buildings, will not require additional public facilities or services, or create such fiscal burdens upon the village greater than those that would be reasonable for the use. And then also, we may impose standards that we deem necessary or appropriate to promote the public health, safety, and welfare. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there before I said anything else, because to make sure that everybody understands that's what we've been asked to do. And so some of the questions I have for you, Isabel, are related to sort of the kind of the leeway that we have within that. So most folks that commented about the property indicated that they were pleased with the look of the building, so I don't have any comments about that or questions. A major concern that has been cited again and again is around maintenance of the landscaping, of garbage, of the structure, and a concern that approving this would be rewarding bad behavior. There was also a recent comment that came in that in lieu of a 20 feet trees to block the trash, they request that the trash be fully shielded. So I have a question for the applicant. Is the applicant prepared to provide evidence that the property will be responsibly managed and maintained in alignment with the feedback that we've received?
Can't hear you.
Yes, my goal is to get this up and running. I honestly, I thought this process was gonna take a lot less time, which is why I was hopeful that, taking down the shed quickly and this process took twice as long as I ever thought it was going to. But yes, and if I need to hire a property manager to make sure that the property is maintained and the trash is picked up, I will do that. Because my hope and my goal is to make sure my mom and my sister have somewhere wonderful to live.
Okay, so I'm hearing you that you are prepared to provide the board with documentation that you will have a maintenance company to support the maintenance of the property. There was also a request that trash be fully shielded, so in like a structure.
So my understanding is the planning board requires that. I think the only thing the planning board doesn't require is a roof, which adding a roof to it is not going to ruin my life in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm. It may be advisable to do that anyway, because with additional units, there could be, additional animal activity on the site.
Fair enough.
So another large item of feedback, and I'll probably move on soon because you all are hearing a lot of my voices, and maybe the board has other questions on each of these. Is it better actually if I pause on each of these notes to see if the board wants to speak on the same
No,
note,
keep
or
going,
should I
keep
just
going,
finish and
keep
then?
going.
Yeah, do
Okay.
your thing.
Thing. Roadway. So this is a comment that came up multiple times, and there were overlapping comments. And this is maybe a question. This is going to kind of be directed to you, Isabel. There were numerous questions and concerns around roadway safety, capacity concerns, that South Street Extension has considerable speeding. In addition, it's not going to be walkable for anyone that lives there. There are, I think, 2 bedrooms in each of the places, meaning that there may be children. And so, and I think one could argue that with the condominiums going in across the street, another 4-bedroom unit is not going to considerably add more traffic to that road. But those condominiums have not, or those new units have not yet come online. And those units were approved, I believe, in the 90s, right?
Yes.
And so South Street Extension has been identified as a significant area of concern, both by the village board, by residents, by the transportation safety action planning process. So my question to you, Isabel, is, and I don't know if this is the right wording or not, but to what extent is it reasonable for the board to place this burden on this particular property? And to what extent can we prohibit further development until we address pedestrian safety? So those are really 2 questions, and maybe I should start with the second one, because keeping in mind that the 90 units were approved in the 90s. This is not like a recent thing. We do know that we have significant work to do on South Street Extension. It's a sticky wicket. There's not a lot of space. It's going to take significant planning. To what extent could we prohibit further like approvals of special, because there's no kind of zoning along that road to allow multiple units, but to what extent could we prohibit further development until we're able to address those concerns?
Well, I mean, you could just do a moratorium on development. That's one option. The other option, I mean, you could conduct a traffic study to try to understand, I know it's not there yet, but the projected estimate of traffic levels that should have been done for the initial apartments in the 80s, but I'm sure that's changed as a lot has changed in the past 30 plus years. So that's another option. As part of the seeker review process, the planning board should be looking at the cumulative impacts, including traffic. So when they're looking at just the specific 30 Brady project, they have to look at it in the context of also, development across the street. So that is part of the seeker review, which the planning board is conducting. So in terms of putting the onus on this property owner, it's if they were standalone and if those apartments didn't exist, like you said, 4 extra units is not, really an impact. So I don't know if it's fair to put it on them when it's really the development across the street that's going to be increasing the traffic more.
Did you want to follow up with any of that before
Yeah.
I ask a question?
Yeah, I think and maybe that's an executive session question, but, is really, I think it's more from like a legal perspective, right? So fair is one thing, but the reality of the situation is, and it is also across the street, so it's coming from both angles. And so it sounds like what you're saying is that something that would have to be reviewed as part of the seeker, and that is the way in which we would better understand
Right.
the impacts.
Right.
Okay.
But under the law, does the village, either the planning board or the village board under a special use permit, have the ability to require an applicant to make off-site improvements?
As long as it's reasonable and promotes public health, safety, welfare.
What do you mean by off-site improvements?
I mean, like a sidewalk on Brady Road.
We would have to build.
Let the, I think we understand. Okay.
So it would just have to be justified that it promotes public health, safety, welfare.
Okay, all right.
another comment that we also received a comment about the property being more than twice the size of neighboring properties. That is, that would be the properties behind and adjacent, but not across the street. We also received concerns about the view of the parking lot, and so I wanted to invite the applicant to comment on this, and maybe also a little bit of the perspective on the location of the parking lot. And I also recognize in your response, you mentioned that, you know, you are not required to put any additional trees over 6 feet, but I just wanted to see if you had any comments or responses regarding the concerns that were raised about the view of the parking lot.
Maybe, so as the process moves along, a lot of these specific things are going to be discussed with the planning board. So I think, you know, if you don't feel that it's appropriate for you to answer tonight,
That's okay.
we understand that, and that's okay. You're not here with your professionals, I understand that. And so, you know, you don't have to necessarily answer the questions, but these questions are also going to be forwarded to the planning board so that when they get into the weeds, no pun intended, I'm sorry, that wasn't appropriate. When they really get into the details of the application, then they're going to be evaluating these things and coming up with hopefully solutions that are satisfactory both to them and to us.
Okay, so from now on, what I'll do is I'll just flag it as a question for the applicant, and you can choose whether you want to respond or not.
So, from my understanding, the village requires us to have 2 parking spaces per bedroom. The village requires us to have 6 feet tall trees to shield. My understanding is if they're up a hill and people are coming in, the 6-foot tree should block 90% of the lights coming from the cars. I mean, for me to plant 20+ feet trees so she doesn't have to see a parking lot doesn't seem reasonable to me. If there is another solution that somebody has a thought of, I am most certainly willing to listen and have somebody else tell me if there's a different perspective. On top of which, not to put this as somebody else's problem, but she's up a hill. If she plants trees, they are already up the hill and she doesn't need 20 feet trees. If she plants them on her side, is my thought, then, you know, she can let them grow and they'll block her view on her property.
Okay, thank you. Another question was related, or another concern folks raised was related to lighting, and then the applicant responded that they are not intending to put additional lighting on the parking lot. So I would assume that that is resolved unless there is a requirement for that or an intention that's changed. There was a public comment concerning water and wastewater capacity and the need to ensure that the infrastructure can support. We did confirm that we have plenty of capacity both in the water and wastewater. Energy, I think, is another issue, which we are already dealing with capacity issues around, and that is going to be continue to be exacerbated over time with heat and additional development. But that is something that is not going to be significantly affected by the addition of 4 units. And someone raised the concern about drainage and flooding, and so that's, I think, a question that we could forward to the planning board or just see whether there is an issue around that.
Yeah, the engineers should address that.
The engineer did ask for that the morning of the public hearing. I got a notice to that, so my engineer is working on that. That is something they are required to.
Okay, that's great, thank you. And then, oh, I forgot to ask this about the parking lot. So another significant concern that people raised was, you know, given that it is a very busy road, and there's 2 spots per unit, where will visitors be parking? Because there also is not kind of nearby off-site parking. So that's something that I think is a question that still needs to be responded to. And then my final item here is and this is something that I myself was wondering, and then one of the most recent public comments came in and indicated this, the concern about kind of where will children safely play. And if there had been multiple buildings on the site, there would have been a requirement for 100 square feet of fenced space per dwelling unit. So that would be approximately 400 square feet if this was two different buildings. And so given the location of the property along a very busy road and the number of bedrooms in the units, that is a concern that I have related to safety. And so I just wanted to kind of raise that and invite some potential comment on that. So I appreciate
Thank you.
the time.
Thank you.
Trustee Kalura, are you ready?
Yeah, I think Carly covered most of the concerns about safety on the roads and the speeding. Also adding influx of residential spots to a neighborhood that has this project across the street that has been approved and predates a lot of us. I do have a concern also with the projected development on Ball Road. I think that's, even though it's not in the village, it's adding just more congestion to an already busy area. My main concern is just setting the precedent of special use permits and this specific type of format of multi-residence structures and buildings. I know that we can discuss that further, but I feel that this format of a residence building is a growing trend. I think if we sort of allow one, we have to sort of be open to others, and I feel like there are more locations where this type of format would not be a good fit for the neighborhood than it would be. So I want to keep that in mind as we look ahead to the future and coming down the road. I think that these type of buildings as a growing trend will increase population quickly and have a negative impact on infrastructure, resources, and capacity, as Carly briefly mentioned as well.
Can I ask a question, Isabel, related to that? So can you comment on the extent to which a decision on the specific use of this property would affect the village's decision-making, like autonomy in similar projects moving forward?
It's all case by case because each lot is specific and has different dimensions and everything, and one lot might make sense in one neighborhood and it might not make sense in a different neighborhood for this type of development. So it's very case specific.
Trustee McKnight?
Okay, so, first of all, I appreciate everyone's comments. It is hard when tensions rise, right, between neighbors. You don't want to see that. And I do empathize on a number of the points, but I want to kind of let you in on how I'm thinking about this. I'm trying to remove any bit of emotion from the equation. And then I think we've looked at the code. You've obviously read off a couple of the things about what are the requirements of how we have to look at it. And so, whereas I do understand and feel the plight of neighbors, and they want an environment that feels like their neighborhood and is clean the way they would want to keep their house, we also have to think that all properties pretty much change hands over time. And so this could be sold to somebody else. And so, whereas I hear you about wanting neighbors to keep their property a certain way, we have to think about, well, what about that property and where does it sit in terms of the zoning? So on the single family residential side, there is what I call Collector Street, which is not really a major artery, but it's a quite busy street. It's not a local street, which is Brady Road. And then the other side is zoned completely differently. And often in municipalities, a collector road tends to be that line of demarcation, right? It often separates the different residential densities. So to me, it seems like Brady Road was, that was a line. As long as everyone's sharing concerns, I'm concerned about the 93 unit complex that's going up across the street. I think it's going to change Warwick. I think it's on the village and your local representatives to keep the builder on task, make sure they're doing it legally. So that is going to affect congestion. I don't think, 4 units of 2 bedrooms each are going to affect congestion. But I do think that when you look at this property, right, it's an interesting triangle. And the way it's laid out, it looks like it is bordering 5 properties behind and 1 on the side, right, 28. So by putting an apartment unit there, again, I think back to the code. Let me pull that up. Wait a second. So, yeah, so I look at this list here, and then there's a couple for multifamily or multiple residences, where it says about the lot size, right? Minimum of a 1/4 acre. Okay, it's above that. Most residences shall be constructed to resemble a single-family dwelling. Okay, well, that kind of looks like it, but you don't really consider zoning classification based on architectural style, right? It's a think about the density, right? And so for me, again, trying to take I hear what everyone's saying, trying to take all the emotion out of it. We have to think 5, 10, 30, 50 years in advance. And it is all single family residents on that one side. There are 5 backyards, 6 backyards that can look onto this property. We have 93 units going across the street. We already have an established kind of complex. To me, it seems like Brady is a natural line. And so that, again, those are some of the thoughts that, that I have swirling around. But any questions or comments on that?
My turn?
Your turn?
Thank you. I'm going to get a little bit more specific on some of the things that I feel that still need to be addressed further for me to be able to support this. And I'll start out with topography and stormwater. Engineer by background, so I looked at the plans in pretty hefty detail. The topography is taken from Orange County ImageMate. I question the accuracy of that, and I also believe that the village engineer did likewise. Stormwater is a concern, and that is because it seems, well, first of all, you're increasing the impermeable footprint by the size of the building and the size of the paved parking area. So even though it doesn't exceed the requirements, I still think it needs to be looked at because under the current condition, smaller impervious area, that sheet flow is traveling kind of to the northwest. I believe towards 28 and maybe even behind some of William Close or whatever, not Robert Drive. Thank you. And so that, even though it doesn't exceed the threshold of 1 acre, I think it's something that needs to be looked at seriously to determine where it's going to go and what the potential impact on downstream properties would be. As far as parking and garbage, I think that I would like to see, I know that Mary's visited at the gracious invitation, but I would like to ask the planning board if they would take a look at possibly creating a 3D visualization of what the neighboring properties would see from their second floors and their decks. I think that's important for us to have and to be able to use as something that we would judge the project on. I'd like to have further information on the plan for the garbage. Is it going to be picked up weekly or twice weekly? Is it going to be a dumpster or more common individual type residential? Okay. And is it going to be moved to the street, or is there going to be a truck entering the property?
My goal is to move it to the street.
Okay. Then I would say that there would need to be a spot on the street that would be level, that would allow for those to have the stability to be able to stand even if it's windy. So that, I feel that's important too. It seemed like a vehicle in space one would be blocking the ability to remove the garbage cans. I may not have interpreted that correctly, but again, these are more things that need to get worked out as the process moves forward. Landscaping and trees, I think we need to know what the existing trees are, the species, the caliper, the health. I understand there are, 3 that are going to be preserved and maintained. And the proposed planting specifics, the height, caliper, and deer resistance. On the base 10 landscape plan, they specified arborvitae, which is not deer resistant and would be a future maintenance issue. So the last thing we want to see is that shield that's there to block the lights of cars, to have the deer eat that and then the lights pass right through it. So that's important. And then some other things, lighting impacts from the building and the parking. I think that needs to be demonstrated by the engineer and the architect. I'd also like to see information on the driveway sight lines on Brady Road to make sure that that those are sufficient, especially with the amount of traffic and the speeds on Brady. One other, I guess my last one would be the location and the screening for outside mechanical equipment. So air conditioners and things of the like that have platforms outside. Where would they be, and what's the plan to screen them as well? So that's basically what I gleaned from the review of the plans and the property. So, any further discussion? Comments, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I keep thinking back to the code, and we have to interpret each one of those items. For anyone following, it's Article 12, Section 145-120. The general conditions for special use permits. And the very first one, right, letter A, if you don't mind, I'm going to read it for a second. The proposed use shall be of such location, size, and character that will be in harmony with the appropriate and orderly development of the district in which it is proposed to be situated, and not be detrimental to the site or adjacent properties in accordance with the zoning classification of such properties. That, for me, and it's the very first one, that's where I get stuck. All these other things, including drainage, are solvable problems. You can solve drainage, you can solve runoff, right? You can solve property maintenance issues. Those are all solvable things, right? Buildings will change hands. I just think that, you know, for letter A, again, that's where I get stuck a little bit. And if you look on stuff like, you know, the height of building and height of trees and all that stuff, again, solvable problems. There's one in there that just, it doesn't seem solvable because it just seems the minute that becomes a 40-unit apartment building, that's it. That's how it's built.
And Tom, can we just, going back to, because something that you said earlier really sat with me, with that Brady Road is, when we think about whether or not it's in harmony with the district within which it's situated. What I heard you say is that the way that Brady Road is essentially acting as though it's a delineator between two districts. One is a multifamily district on the east.
No, it's our,
West?
it's in our district. It's just like this one,
No,
when it was
no.
originally.
North, south, east, west is what I was trying to delineate. I'm
Across the
not,
street.
not great at this.
Across the street.
East.
And east, I said east first, okay. And then on the west side, what I heard you saying is that this is a single family residential district.
Which is what the house is there
So
now.
is that what you're saying now, is that you get stuck on A because of that reason? Because then
Yeah,
it
so-
becomes out of harmony with the single family residential.
Right, so you have a collector road, the local streets kind of go into it, it's busier, a lot more cars, you know, some could consider it arterial road, which is even busier. If it were just a regular local street, maybe that's a different conversation, but it almost puts tension on what the east and the west side of the street, how they're currently classified, right? Is the fact that there is, you know, Warwick Commons, this 93 unit complex going in, it kind of builds tension on, right there at Brady Road. I don't mean tension as in personalities, which builds some tension there on Brady Road, such that the single family side, it almost pulls more towards single family, because you have this main road that is just separating the two. And so when I think of how does it fit within, I go back to A, and that's kind of where, you know, my mind keeps going back to. I've looked at every other thing. I've looked at the drainage and parking lot and trees and trash cans and, you know, all solvable. I don't think it's adding any extra traffic. I know we have enough sewage capacity for 4 units as opposed to 1 there, especially with the requirement that the complex across the street was required to tap into. So all that other stuff, it seems, again, that all that seems reasonable. It's just that this fitting with the character and the harmony and the appropriate and orderly development of the district in which it's proposed to be situated, and not detrimental to the site or adjacent properties. This property is adjacent to 6 others, and it's dense. Small lots in the village. It's partially why a lot of us love to live here. And if we, you know, if there's a 4-unit building there, it just seems now kind of an extension of the other side of the street. Does that make sense, Carly?
But then
Yeah.
hypothetically, someone could purchase 28 and do the same thing. And then by our standards saying this is okay, we could improve this and have this property extend the whole lot and become a multiple apartment unit, then we're kind of on the hook to approve it. And then that's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah, it does become
And
very
then,
difficult to
You know,
argue.
Brady Road is so close behind, then that sort of carries into, not Brady Road, Robert Drive. Robert Drive is adjacent to it, then if those houses start to sell, then they could easily follow the same format. I've seen it happen in other neighborhoods outside of our municipality, and it's happened very quickly.
Does one of the neighbors, sorry, were you at 33, 30,
I'm 33.
33,
I'm 31.
31? Do you know the front to back length of your property?
Yes. The width is 105 feet.
The width, as in which way?
And the depth.
And the depth, I mean,
125 from back to front.
Go back.
so standing at Robert Drive, 125
Yes.
to the back. And so, so do you know how far the back of, because all those houses are, looking at the aerial view, are right in a row, right? Do you have a sense of how far from the back to the back of your building to the property line in the back?
We go, we slope, so if you hit the bottom of the hill is where their property starts.
Right.
They go off, like you said, I don't know who said it, the triangular.
Yeah.
That's up towards the block. One of the neighbors couldn't make it, that's behind their house,
Right.
the triangular portion.
That's
I believe-
37.
I believe the back of our home is probably approximately 60 to 70 feet
From the
That
property.
makes
From
sense.
For the property line.
the
Yeah.
property line, at the most. And that's going into unusable property that's in the ditch between the two properties.
Right.
Which is not usable.
Right. Yeah, I measured it 60 feet. Anyway, to your point, Mary, it's another thing to consider.
Yeah, I would say so.
All right.
Can I
Done
make
with
one
discussion?
statement? I know I had a chance to talk, but it was in regards to something that Rutherford said, and no emotion involved. If I was a family that was looking to get a special permit, I wouldn't make a statement that the neighbor should be responsible to put up her own tree to block a view for something that they were building. It's not
Thank you.
courtesy. That's not courteous at all. I'm sorry that I added it after the fact.
All right. Anything more? All right, then we'll close the discussion on 30 Brady Road and move on with the rest of the agenda. Thank you all for being here tonight.
Yeah, thank
You're
you.
welcome to stay and,
Um,
yep.
We would invite anyone from the board
Bring
that wants to
pickles.
come to our
Pickles.
property to come see what we look at from our deck onto 30 Brady Road.
Okay.
You're more than welcome to come to our house and look.
I mean, other
Thank you.
than
Thank you for the
the
offer.
28 Brady, the two of us, 33 and 31, are directly in line.
Yep.
Especially
We are
on
the
four,
ones
the
that
trees
will-
that will-
We are the ones who will be impacted the most, 31 and 33.
You can see the property from the roadway.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
You can
If you wanna
see
see from our
through.
deck what we look down
And
on.
we need to remember, it is summertime, there are lots of leaves. 2 seasons out of the year, that's gonna be wide open.
Okay, thank you. I would like to move on at this point. And at this point, I would open for public comment on any motions that are before us. Is there anyone that would like to speak on any of the upcoming motions? Okay. I'll start. Motion number one, motion to approve payment number one in the amount of $64,695 to J Squared Construction Corp. For the Reservoir Water Treatment Plant project as per the recommendation of Village Engineering and Surveying Properties, PC. Funds are appropriated in budget code G.1404.4700. Could I get a motion and a second? I made the motion.
A second.
Second, we got a second, thank you.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. 2, motion to approve change order number 2 with Argenio Brothers for the Wheeler Avenue ADA Sidewalk Improvement Project and authorize the mayor to execute the same. Change order number 2 provides for the addition of colored concrete onto all sidewalks and the installation of concrete sidewalks in front of 15 and 17 Wheeler Avenue at an additional cost of $4,451.50, increasing the contract amount from $179,825 as adjusted by change order number 1 to a revised contract total of $184,276.50 as recommended by the village engineer, engineering and surveying properties, PC. Could I get a second, please?
Second.
Thank you.
What's the nature of the change order there?
So we are adding colored concrete, so it's not going to be a bleached white surface. It's going to be a subtler kind of grayish surface. And after I guess after we got out there, the residents at 15 and 17 asked for consideration of putting concrete sidewalks in front of their properties as well. We're doing just the, I don't know what, it's probably the south side or east side of
Yeah.
Wheeler. So it's this side of Wheeler, between here and Spring Street.
Right, okay.
How come it's only 44? Did they realize savings elsewhere
No?
to add
They're
2
short
new
side-
properties?
no, they're
okay.
pretty short sidewalks, yeah.
Second? Wait, did we
We
do
got
that
se-
already?
We
Yeah,
didn't vote
we
yet.
did, we did it.
Second,
All right, all in
discussion.
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Number 3, motion to approve an interfund transfer in the amount of $106,400 from the Waste Facility Reserve Fund to the Capital Projects Fund for the wastewater treatment plant upgrade contract 2B payment application 1 from Power with Prestige, Inc., approved by the Village Board on July 20th, 2026.
Second.
Any questions? It's the start of spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of these.
Yep, yes, there will be. Okay, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Trustee
Motion-
Foster.
Motion to grant permission to Village of Warwick employee Jennifer Manti to carry over 5 vacation days.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried.
Motion to acknowledge receipt of the special use permit application for the 29 West Street LLC Townhouse Project / 15 Elm Street subdivision, to set an escrow for the processing of the application at $3,000 and to refer the application to the village attorney and the village's engineering consultant for review and comment.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Okay. Public comment on non-agenda items? Anyone like to address the board on anything that's not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, I ask for final comments from the board. Anybody have anything?
I have something. So the Village of Warwick Park Rec program is over. So the park Stanley Deming Park is open full time. Thank you for your patience as we had it closed while the camp was going on. I do have an event I wanted to announce. It's the Warwick area. Warwick. Oh my goodness, I can't see it on my glasses. It's so bad. The Warwick Area Farm Workers Organization Ice Cream Social will be taking place tomorrow. That would be 1 p.m. from 3:30 p.m. at the Pine Island Elementary School on 20 Schoolhouse Road. All are welcome to see what they've been up to over there. It's a really great program. I recommend everyone going. And then this Saturday, August 8th, our Village Concert Series will be a community square dance. That will start at 7 p.m. with the Richard Stillman Band, square dance and calling. We look forward to seeing everyone there. We have been keeping an eye on the weather, so if anything changes, we'll let everyone know.
It's called Hoedown on the home court.
That's on the basketball court.
I was like, wow, I was like, she's moving on. She's not gonna say it.
I wanted you to
Tom,
say it.
anything?
I know he
No?
loves it.
Okay. I do have one thing. Tomorrow is National Night Out. Starts at 5 p.m. It's at Memorial Park, the back end of Memorial Park. It's a great event, and our DPW will be there with Touch-A-Truck along with a lot of other Touch-A-Trucks.
Yeah.
But in addition, new this year, is the DPW coloring book.
Wait.
Oh, you have, okay. Vanna, would you show the,
That's
So-
really sweet. Oh, look what page I opened up too.
yeah.
This
So-
is great.
So, and we invite anyone who looks at the coloring book to try and decide who's who. There are some similarities,
They are.
so. Okay, with that, we do have to go into executive session. The board will not be conducting any business when we come out of executive session. We will just be adjourning. So with that, I guess I'm sorry.
Make a motion to go into executive session concerning the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks.
thank you.
Stop right there.
All right.